Hey, what's up, friends? Welcome back. Another episode of Move the Sticks off and running here. Rhett Lewis, Bucky Brooks with you. DJ is putting his tool belt on. He's got his plumber hat out. He is fixing some homeowner issues in his house. So he'll be back later this week. But we are holding down the fort here. A fun episode after another doubleheader on Monday night now in the books. Plus, we've got our rookie draft coming up. Our coordinator of the week is on the way as well. And there's some really interesting things to dig into here, Bucky, with these Monday nighters. But you're back from London. Was not a great showing from the Jags, but just wanted to jump in and quick touch point on that one. I am curious because we'll get into this with coordinator of the week. How did you observe the way? I mean, the Jags are like, old hat at this, going overseas in London, right? I mean, been there, done that almost every year. It feels like Rams did something a little bit differently this time around. Kind of curious just how you saw this process with Liam Cohen, international travel, playing the game, how it all kind of worked out.
Let me talk about the Rams process first, because the Rams process was very similar to my process, right? So the Rams, they were in Baltimore. They practiced all week in Baltimore. Then they go over Friday night to get there Saturday morning. If you think about it, Red, they basically, in reverse a little bit, they basically just did like a West Coast trip. You know what I mean? Like rather than doing all the things and making it a bigger deal, they just said, okay, we'll leave early. They got there early Saturday. They played on Sunday. Local time, it's a 2:30 kick. Right. So if you get there early, it gives you 28, 30 hours to kind of acclimate and go play. I landed at 5:50 on Saturday night, had to get up. I was a bit of a fog like that night, go to sleep, wake up. And in the middle of the game, I was like, okay, if I had to play, what would I do differently? I was like, well, one, I'll be a little amped up, the adrenaline. I would consume a little more caffeine and kind of get going. And you can kind of use your adrenaline rush to get through the game. Jacksonville goes over early, and they're there like on a Monday, Tuesday. Like it's a long week. And you can kind of, I won't say lull yourself into sleep, but I just felt like the energy was different from both teams. The Rams were on it right from the jump, and it kind of felt like almost like you tell your kids, hey, this is what we're doing. You can get there, you're going to have fun, and we're going to enjoy it, right? Yes. Yep. We're going. And that's how they approached it.
I think it's really interesting, kind of talking to some folks around the organization. I think it might become a model what the Rams did for, especially for West Coast teams that are kind of breaking it up, right? Going west to east and then spending time there. I think science tells you that 2 days before is some of your most important sleep for a big event. Yeah. However, I can attest to this too, because every Thursday night I'll do the post game for Prime Video. I jump on a red eye, barely sleep, maybe hour and a half, go to whatever college game I'm going to. I stay up, right? I don't take a nap. I stay up all through the day Friday. I go to sleep at like 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I get 10, sometimes 11 hours of sleep, wake up feeling like Superman on Saturday, right? And that's basically what the Rams did. They traveled overnight. Yes. Right, got there on Saturday, quick walkthrough, guys had dinner, bam, you get to sleep early. I think some of them, kind of probably woke up in the middle of the night a little bit, but you're able to go back, went back to sleep for another few hours, wake up, and it's like, bang, man, I feel great now. Let's go play the game.
I'm with it, Red. Yeah. So I do that a ton going to Jacksonville. It's not the same as international, but like Friday night high school game, red eye, get to Jacksonville, kind of hang out throughout the course of the day, early bedtime, Saturday. Go do the game, and you just kind of do it. I do believe that the Rams, because they won, they have established a new blueprint for how teams are doing it. Because I think everyone is still trying to figure out how do you navigate that. And with so many more international games that we're playing, you better have a concrete plan for how you want to approach those games, because you don't want to give away games just because you're playing out of the country.
No doubt. And they're always on the cutting edge. I think Sean McVay does such a great job kind of cultivating information and understanding what his team really needs. And I think, you'll see this in the coordinator of the week, but I think we could have picked either coordinator from the Rams to be the coordinator of the week this week. Mike LaFleur with what he did coming up with that game plan without Puka Nacua. And then you'll see a little bit later, we'll get to Chris Shula in just a moment, but let's get back to the Monday nighters. And so let's talk about this in the framework of what we saw first, right? And this was a Bucs-Lions game in Detroit that the Lions came out absolutely hair on fire in this game. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is going off with the explosive runs. And for a team that felt like so much of the league left them for dead after an awful performance in the season opener against a pretty dang good Green Bay Packers team, they have done nothing but improve, get back to their explosive play ways on offense. And I'd love to just get your overall take. And then I kind of want to dig into something that I think is pretty fun from a scouting community side in this matchup.
Look, Campbell is the real deal when it comes to being a coach. I think the way that he has bounced back from that awkward introductory presser to being one of the best coaches in football. And the thing about it is, I wish I could say it's the X's and O's. It's just, I would say, the force of nature that he is when it comes to leadership. This team bounces back better than anybody. Performance, man, they get right back to work. They know who they are, and they're confident in that. And the thing about them is, I'll admit, I wanted to dismiss them as a title contender, just given the amount of change that they were experiencing on their staff. But they're right back to it. And whenever they get backed into a corner, physicality and toughness, bully ball comes back to the forefront, and they're able to impose their will on opponents, offensively and defensively.
I think there's just there's a toughness quotient here that's not just like physical toughness, which they certainly have, right? You see it in the trenches, offensive, defensive lines. You see it in the linebacker group, really all over the place. Monroe St. Brown, right? But I think there's like a mental grit to this team. So just to let folks understand, who they were without on defense, right? So let's talk about that first. Kirby Joseph, terrific safety, out. Terrion Arnold, first-round corner, out. DJ Reed, another corner on IR, out. Brian Branch, nickel dude, one of the best in the league, suspended. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Amik Robertson, who's been a good player for them since coming over from the Raiders, is a prominent player for them as well, is one, who I think played pretty dang good in this game. But can we talk for a second about D2 Saginaw Valley State's finest, Nick Whiteside, playing in some of his first extended action in the NFL since coming over following the 23 collegiate season, signed as an undrafted free agent by Washington. This is a guy, who, look, if you're looking for tape, you got to search, right? From our perspective at this point. But I think this goes to show you, and this is a guy who did not allow a single catch in this game if you take the screen pass that went for a touchdown out, which I'm not really going to put on a corner at this point. But it's a dude that had 30 tackles his final season, a couple of interceptions, 12 career interceptions at Saginaw Valley State from 2018 to 2023. Give me a sense of, as a scout, Buck, how you go about and cultivate evaluations on players at the D2 level, knowing that there's so much less available to you in terms of information. Obviously, you're going to be able to find the tape, but you got to go into the schools, I imagine, if there's guys that you're identifying. How would a team go about finding a player like Nick Whiteside and understanding whether he could play for him?
The main thing is when you're doing the preliminary stuff and you have the list, his name will pop up. It's really important that you go into the school and get your eyeballs on him so you can see, hey, physically, does he match up? I'm looking at a 6 foot, 200-pound defensive back. Well, that certainly will give you an opportunity to play. Then it's watching him play on tape. He's playing D2. Does he dominate? Does it stand out on tape that he's a dominant player at that level? Then a lot of it from that point is projecting how is he going to compete against the big boys, all-star games, those things. When he comes to camp, does he look like he's out of place, or is he a guy that kind of steps up and rises to the challenge that he's facing when it comes to new levels of competition? All those things there. But I believe, so much of it is the personality. Does he have the right stuff on the inside? And we can talk about it and those things. And he has to be able to give you the right answers. But then when you see him compete, man, does he compete and play like his hair is on fire, as you were alluding to?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm just kind of going back because, look, I'll be honest with you. I knew absolutely nothing about this cat. Right. I mean, and how could you at this point? I mean, he was a Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference Defensive Back of the Year. Okay. He played in the UFL with the St. Louis Battlehawks. I don't remember him at all on the All-Star game circuit. I could be wrong. It's hard now since he is, a guy who obviously showed up in a big way. Anytime you Google his name, you're just getting flooded with articles from like the last month or two. He was a really good player in the preseason for the Lions. So they've obviously trusted him. Look, I think, I love these stories, right? We love to see guys who, are outside of the construct of like major college football and draft analysis to like have an opportunity to show up in a big way. So I think that's really cool. And credit to him, right, for sticking with it. Going through the NFL, the UFL, back to the NFL, and now into a prime role. He was excellent last night for the Detroit Lions against the team and the Bucs that had been pretty dang good on offense. So that big part of that Lions win. Let's move to the second game of the night, which was the Texans and the Seahawks. And I mean, we've changed coordinators now for Houston. I know they've had injuries. I know they're still kind of working through the offensive line and trying to build that thing back up. Just not working on a consistent basis. And look, Joe Mixon, I think being out is a bigger deal than most people have been talking about at this point, because the run game was huge for them last year and kind of buoyed them when the pass game was not quite there. Let's start there with what you've seen on that front for an extremely talented quarterback in CJ Stroud in this offense, just being unable to kind of find a groove.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, man. A team that is so good, particularly on defense, a team that should be in the conversation as a high-end playoff contender, just struggling, putting up points. They don't look like a team with the talent that they have on the roster should look. And we can talk about the offensive line and that stuff, but it just doesn't look like they are maximizing the talent that they have available, from quarterback to the running game to the playmakers on the outside. The scheme just isn't matching the skill of the players. And you're right, it's the second coordinator that we're on. And I understand that it takes a while for sometimes it to click. But that was a game last night that the way the defense played, it should have been enough for them to win, and not getting enough from their offense. And so they're giving away games, and they're going to look up, and you're going to be too far behind the 8 ball to be able to get back into the conversation as a playoff team.
Yeah, and to think about this, the Seahawks turned the ball over 5 times in this game.
Crazy. I mean, the odds of losing that kind of game, just the odds of losing.
It's like 99%. You turn the ball over 5 times, you're going to lose.
You just can't do it.
Now, I mean, truly, it was 4 times. Okay, there was an incredibly odd and unique play that I want to run through because it's one of the longest descriptions of a play I've ever seen on the NFL's stats and information website. So I'm going to read this to you. If you remember it from the second quarter, it was a play that looked like a safety, ended up being a touchback. So here's how it sounded, right? It's a 2nd and 10 from the Houston 24, right? So from the -24, Houston with the football, second quarter, about 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second quarter. CJ Stroud sacked back at the 12-yard line, loss of 12 by Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones forces a fumble. It's touched at the Houston 5-yard line and recovered by Houston's Braxton Berrios, 8 yards deep in the end zone. Berrios then touched down in the end zone. Safety. Ernest Jones is the one who then ends up touching him, gets credit for the safety. There's a penalty on Xavier Hutchinson for illegal shift. All right, that's declined, right? Who cares? Replay official comes in. They review the loose ball recovery ruling. Play was reversed. Stroud is then, this is how it should read. Stroud sacked at the Houston 12 by Ernest Jones. Forced fumble by Ernest Jones. Recovered by Seattle's Drake Thomas at the Houston 5. So they said that Seattle actually gained possession of the football at the Houston 5. Drake Thomas then returns that fumble 4 yards to the Houston 1. Woody Marks, then the Houston running back, forces the fumble. It's touched 1 yard deep into the end zone, recovered then by Braxton Berrios of the Texans at the Houston, well, let's call it 8 yards deep in the end zone. He's then down for a touchback instead of a fumble recovery. We then enforced the penalty, illegal shift, 5 yards at the Houston 24. All that to say, no play.
So much. Just so much.
A 2nd and 15 from the Houston 19 after the penalty. Stroud, quick throw, Nico Collins, gain of 3. And it's like, what in the world just happened? That kind of explains the day, the night, and maybe the year for the Houston Texans, you know?
Look, you just talk about anything and everything that can go awry has gone awry for this team. And it's really unfortunate that they haven't been able to kind of right the ship. But here's where I take solace in the Texans and why they always can climb back into it. You can make the case that they're the best defense in football in terms of the way that they play, what they're able to do, and those things. And that defense can keep them in games and makes them a tough out against any opponent. I promise you, they don't even have to become an elite offense. If they can just have a competent offense, they have a chance of being able to do it. And so you hope they find their stride down the stretch and they're able to kind of make amends for some of the games that they've kind of stumbled and fallen this early in the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd say the same thing on that front. Okay, so with that, we have covered the 2 Monday night games. Let's get to our rookie draft. And I think, DJ did say that there was a pipe issue in his house. I think he may just be, waving the white flag with this thing in the rookie draft.
You think?
I think that's probably what we're talking about here. I mean, his running back scored 0.5 points in this week. Travion Henderson. He was going for the gusto, trying to hope for a breakout day from Trey.com. He had Matthew Golden as his receiver. He got 7 points. Tyler Warren, who I think he took with the first pick, if I'm not mistaken, trying to steal him from me, ended up getting him 2nd place points in the tight end. So I think this might be the first week that Warren did not win the rookie tight end battle. You had Harold Fannin, got you 3rd place. DJ talked me into a Rondé Gadsden Jr.
He had a monster game. A monster game. A Rondé Gadsden Jr. I'm looking at the numbers across and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
A Rondé Gadsden is playing like his dad? Like he's just going to dominate on the perimeter? Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and look, you got a big time payoff for sticking with your loyalty here and going with Travis Hunter. He gets his first career tutty, right? Yeah. First career 100-yard game.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, Rhett? You know what that was? That was the classic fantasy football play. You know what I'm saying? The game is awry, but in the 4th quarter with 3 minutes left, we're celebrating all touchdowns and all big plays. And so if he gets 80 of those yards the last 3 minutes of the game, no one cares because all we do is care about outcomes, not processes.
It's been really fun to watch, some of these guys. And I think, for Hunter, I did think we saw some more of the things that, a little bit more of that downfield targeting. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of that moving forward, but it was at least fun for Jaguars fans to get a glimpse, right, of what that was.
Here's what's going to happen. Because the Jaguars have a drops problem. And the only person who is catching the ball consistently is Travis Hunter. I will imagine after they do a little self-reflection and evaluation, Travis Hunter will be the number 1 receiver for the Jaguars going down the stretch. I think you'll see more balls head his way. You'll see him act a wide receiver. He'll play some DB, but I think you're going to see an all-out effort to make sure that this guy gets 10-plus targets a game and gets enough touches to have an impact on the game.
No question. So clearly, Travis Hunter winning the wide receiver sweepstakes got you 3 points. You got a point from Ashton Genty as well, even though he only accumulated 4.4 points. I guess tells you how bad the rookie running back room was this week. I ended up getting the win in the running back room with Cam Scadaboo's 18.4 points with the Rondé Gadsden. And then I came in 3rd in the wide receiver, so I didn't get a point there. So I win the week, 6 points. Bucky comes in 2nd with 4. Brings our totals to Bucky at 23, DJ at 28, which is why he's, I think, quitting on the rookie draft and perhaps this podcast as a whole. We don't know. And then here I sit at 33, now 5 points out in front. So with that,
I feel like this. Hold on. I get because you talked about people stealing the Rams process after having so much success in London. I got to feel like, Red, what are you doing? How much time are you spending on this thing drafting? Like, how much time are you spending on this
maybe more than I should. Maybe
feel
more
like
than it should.
I feel like you're deeply invested. Look, you're using all of the PFF stats and all these things and all of the tools available on their website. You just kind of strike me as how you do anything is how you do everything. And so I feel like you're all in on trying to make sure that you're dominating this thing. And maybe, just maybe the Brooks team needs to spend a little more time in the preparation phase when it comes to it. Because you are definitely all the way in on the rookie draft.
Yeah, look, I was with the team a couple of weeks ago in my college work that said, look, the quarterback's play has slipped a little bit, and it's you know what it is. It's time to refocus on the process of preparation, and that's what we need to kind of right the ship here a little bit. He comes out in the next game and goes 27-33 for a touchdown, and I think that's maybe a lesson for you. It's just like let's get back to refocusing on the process of prep.
We can get back. We can get back to making sure that preparation is everything. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. All of those old adages that we've heard coming up and along the way.
There you go. Okay, let me outline the bye weeks here because we do have a few. So you're going to have to be without Travis Hunter, no Jags, no Ashton Genty with the Raiders on bye. Not sure we have anybody there at Arizona or Detroit. Nothing really with Seattle. Nothing really with the Rams. So I think it's really just Jacksonville and Vegas. It's going to go Bucky. It'll go me. DJ will get back-to-backs with picks 3 and 4. And then we will go from there. And Gavin is going to be typing DJ's picks in the chat. So I'll announce those once we get them. But Bucky, you are up first with the first overall pick in this week's rookie draft. What do you got?
Well, look, it's easy, man, because I'm going to do what DJ did last week. I'm going to take Tyler Warren. Because I feel so strongly about him. I'm not going to give you the break and be like, Ronnie Gas and he's going to go that way. Nope. I'm just going to hold him. I'm going to handcuff him. Tyler Warren, maybe the top playmaker for maybe the top team in the league, the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay. Oh, maybe. I think that's a fair assessment at this point. Okay. I think, just looking at where we're at in the running back group, I think there's a strong case to be made for Quinshon Judkins. He's on the road this week going up against New England. And then you've got Cam Scatterbo going on the road against the Eagles. So 2 tough defenses for a couple of rookie running backs. Man, that's going to be a hard one for me. I feel Giants and Eagles, Browns and Patriots. Battle of Ohio State rookie running backs, actually, in that matchup. Hey, Travion Henderson, who has not done a whole lot. I think at this point, I'm going to move off Cam Scatterbo. I can't imagine the Eagles are going to let that dude bang his head on the goalpost another 3 times like he did 2 weeks ago. I just can't imagine that that's going to happen. So give me Quinshon Judkins for the Cleveland Browns to be my number 2 pick, which means DJ is up with back-to-back picks. All right, he's going to Buka. Okay, so taking a rookie receiver off the board, and then Scatterbo. Pretty good choices. Oh,
yeah. He still took Scatterbo, huh?
Yeah.
Why would you do that, Gavin?
Yeah, so that's going to come back to me now, and I think I'm going to have to go back to the well with Oronde Gadsden and just get the next best option here and get him off the board. So I will take Gadsden with this pick, which will bring you back up, Bucky. Ibuka, Judkins, Scatterbo, Gadsden off the board. You, sir, need a running back and a wide receiver. You get back-to-back picks, buddy.
Oh, back-to-back picks. That's interesting.
Yes, back-to-back.
All right, so let's go. Even though you're down on T-Mac, I feel like T-Mac is going to be okay. So I'm going to go with Teteroa McMillan. And I'm going to make sure that I say his entire name because his mom cornered me in an elevator and was not happy with me. Yeah. So I got to make sure I give his full name. Now, running back is a little tricky because no Ashton Genty. RJ Harvey is barely getting run, not really making an impact. My guy Henderson with New England is not really being what we thought. He would be 2 carries, 5 yards is not good enough. Maybe we just go with RJ Harvey because the Broncos are not on the bye. I'm kind of stuck. So we're going to have to go with RJ Harvey and just hope he can do it. He gave me nothing 4 carries, 0 yards last week. So I'm just going to have to.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Krosky-Merritt would have been another one, but like he's just not. He's not the bell cow we kind of thought he was going to be. So I will.
Well, you know what?
Yeah. You going to switch?
Yeah. Let's do Merritt because he had 13 carries. He just didn't get any yards. Okay. We go.
Bill Krosky-Merritt is Bucky's pick at the running back spot. So that gives you Bill Krosky-Merritt. That gives you Tyler Warren and Teteroa McMillan. Not
a great lineup, but we'll see. Maybe it's better than we anticipate. Not great.
I'm going to finish this one out by going choosing my receiver as Tez Johnson, knowing that Mike Evans is probably done for most of the rest of the regular season, broken clavicle. Egbuka is still a little bit hampered with the hamstring. Chris Godwin has been out. Tez caught a nice screen pass for a touchdown in this game. So give me Tez Johnson. And then Gavin says DJ's going to go with Harold Fannin to close out the tight end spot for DJ, which means he will have Egbuka, Scatterbo, and Fannin. So we might have a battle of Bucks wide receivers, rookie wide receivers here, which will be fun to watch. Okay, so that's our rookie draft right there. All right, it's time for Hot or Not, brought to you by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. Rhett Lewis, Bucky Brooks, back with you, talking coordinator of the week. And as I mentioned before, felt like we could have chosen either of the Rams coordinators, offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur, engineering and offensive game plan, obviously called by Sean McVay, but 5 touchdowns from Matthew Stafford without the league's do everything leading receiving yards, a guy in Puka Nacua out with the ankle. So Puka Nacua down. They get first career touchdowns from Kanata Mumfield and also from Terrence Ferguson, just continuing to find ways to attack Jacksonville Jaguars defense and do so without really their best player on offense outside of Stafford, which was, I thought, pretty cool. But we are going to give the nod for defensive coordinator, for coordinator of the week, to the Rams defensive coordinator, Chris Shula, who has had that outfit absolutely humming the last couple of weeks and wins over Baltimore and Jacksonville. Before we get into those 2 games and really this last game in the win over the Jags, a quick background on Chris Shula. Obviously, you know the name, right? Grandson of the late, great Don Shula. Chris's dad, Dave Shula, also a head coach in the league for Cincinnati, coached with his dad, Don. They're in Miami. And I believe this to be true. The only 3rd generation coach to coach in a Super Bowl. So obviously Don, Dave, and Chris all coaching in a Super Bowl. And I mean, that's football royalty right there with your last name. But I think Chris has done a phenomenal job, Bucky, establishing who he is, right, as a coach, building his own identity. And he's done that now as the Rams defensive coordinator, getting promoted into that role in 2024 when Raheem Morris left. He'd been with the Rams since 2017 as an assistant linebackers coach, outside linebackers coach. He and Sean McVay, of course, were college teammates, roommates at Miami of Ohio. He had been with the then San Diego Chargers before joining Sean McVay with the Rams. Was also the defense coordinator at John Carroll University. Obviously, everyone knows that name in terms of a hotbed for coaches in 2014. And then, I mean, this is probably the reason for his success, Bucky, if we really think about it, but was a defensive grad assistant at Indiana University from 2011 to 2013. Am I right? I mean, like, that's probably where it all started.
That's right. It's the new cradle of coaches. That's right. Not Miami, Ohio. Ohio. Indiana.
No, not John Carroll.
Planted. That's right. Not John Carroll. Not all those things. I will say this, having watched the defense play at an unbelievable level. There are a few different things that you're tasked with doing if you're the defensive coordinator for the Rams. Is making do with a bunch of young players that may not all be first-round talent, but putting them together, putting them on the field, and finding a way to have a great defense. When you look at the Rams and to see it up close and personal, man, they are a hard-playing bunch. They have an edge to them that they play with. They get after it. And from a schematic standpoint, man, they give you a lot of volume that you have to do it. So for Shula to be able to do all the different things that they do, you got to be a great teacher in terms of getting everyone on the same page with the scheme. And then you have to be a master player developer to have so many young players contributing right away. I know they believe in their model and the kind of character guys that they bring in terms of like their football character. But it's a lot to be the puppeteer to kind of get everyone playing at the right level. So give him a lot of credit. It was a very impressive performance, but it's one of many impressive performances that we've seen from the Rams defense.
Look, and I think we all talk about the talent that they've developed up front, right? Drafted and developed, right? From Kobe Turner to Byron Young. And then, of course, the tag team picks a year ago with Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. But I think, they've found ways to identify players that they can win with at the second level, right? Guys like Nate Landman, who's just been, the unrestricted free agent that comes over from the Falcons. Omar Spates, undrafted free agent, right? These were, for all intents and purposes, compared to others that are starting in the league, like scrap heap guys that they have brought in, identified a talent and a skill set, and then developed and put them in positions to accentuate those skill sets, make plays for them. I mean, Landman's making like 10 tackles a game right now. He's going to be way up there at the end in terms of tackle leaders. And then, again, beyond the day one, day two draft picks in the secondary. Cam Kitchens with a 3rd round pick, but Cam Curl comes over from Washington. Kobe Durant, 4th round pick. Quentin Lake, 6th round pick. Darius Williams, who you knew from, left the Rams, went to the Jags, back to the Rams here. I mean, like that to me is some of the more impressive stuff that they've done is from an evaluation standpoint, finding guys, that in some of those like lower rounds of the draft or in free agency that have been overlooked, and then figuring out how to best use them. Right. That to me has been, really impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. I'm just telling you the whole, as they would call it in the building, their whole ecosystem, the way they get down there, they don't make excuses. They play with who shows up. They find a way to get it done, and the standard remains high. Obviously, I want to give a lot of credit to Sean McVay, but I have to give credit to the coordinators and the position coaches on the respective sides of the ball, because they understand what the challenge is to get young players ready to play. They embrace it, they welcome it, and they're okay living with some of the mistakes or growing pains that you have to endure if young guys playing in prominent roles.
Yep. Great point. And look, they're way up there. And DVOA, if you're into that in terms of how you judge defenses over the last 2 weeks, what they did against Baltimore, and then absolute clinic against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags this week, despite the Travis Hunter 100-yard game at the end, as we talked about.
It all counts.
It all counts. It does. All right. That right there, my friends, was this week's Hot or Not segment, brought to you by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. Store more and do more with your data. Try them for free at wasabi.com. And that's going to do it for this episode of Move the Sticks. But we're with you for a few more episodes later this week. So stay tuned for that. And maybe DJ will be back. Maybe we can pull him out of his depression from the rookie draft, because he's a front runner. If he's not in first, it's like it truly is the rookie body. He's first or last.
Yeah, he's having a tough time. You factor what's going on with the rookie draft, and then heaven help him that the Dodgers in the World Series again. So he's just having a tough time. It's not a great time for him right now.
Hey, send your thoughts and prayers out to DJ, guys. He's going through it, and we just we need to support him at a time like this. So we appreciate you guys for supporting Move the Sticks. Thanks to Gavin for getting this thing rolling behind the proverbial glass today, and I look forward to being back with you guys later this week.